Thanks for tuning in, folks. Just a wee warning, this week's episode may have a few stressors in it for some of you folks listening and watching out there. If it does, press pause and you can come back to it. Welcome back, everybody, to season 2, episode 5 of the Support Together Fill Your Cup of podcast. You're all very welcome here today. And on my right, we've got Mrs. Una Mary Leonard.
Hello.
I'm all wrong today.
I know.
And on my left, we've got a very special guest. We've got Louise from Little Forget-Me-Nots Trust. You're very welcome, Louise.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me here.
Are you a wee bit nervous?
I am. But let's just we're
Get it
going
out
to
there.
pretend we're not nervous.
You're all right.
We'll just go with the flow, Pat.
Yeah.
We have the
Is this
cup
your
and the
first
scones
podcast?
here.
I have done a podcast, but it's been online before, so this is my very first in person. So yeah.
Oh, sitting in the
Yeah.
microphone and all. Well, we've had the tea, we've had the scones.
Yeah.
We're good to go.
We're good.
You've travelled the whole way down from Lurgan this morning.
Yes, I have.
You're very welcome here today in Oma.
Thanks. I know it was a grand day. It's a lovely day.
It's
so
lovely.
Nice to drive down.
So, Louise, I suppose I want to get a wee bit of background and find out what brought you here today to support. I know I sent you a message and said, would you be interested in being a guest?
I got an invite.
Planted the seed. Love planting seeds. But what's your connection with Support Together?
Yeah. So I'm thinking that the relevance of us being together was that we have an amazing staff member within the Little Forget-Me-Nots Trust called Catherine. She's actually from Oma.
Yeah.
And over the last year, she kept mentioning you girls and what you are doing and how amazing. And I started following you on Facebook, and I just seen it was this really lovely buzz around you, and I was like, oh, they're such a lovely crowd. So I think Catherine initially reached out to you to say, can we come down and check us out, so we could start signposting if we had anybody coming from Oma. And we had done some of our Just Be cafes down there, and we had such a demand. So it was like a natural progression of linked support and handover and collaboration. I think that's what all charities are aiming for. And then this year we had the opportunity to get more closer and deliver support more closer to people in the community. And so we're launching our Just Be cafes within Oma. So we came to you girls and seen your place, and we were like, this is our wee home down here, from home. And it was just amazing. As soon as we walked in, it was just so warm. And I had said to you the other day on the phone, and I just felt like you girls are on the same boat as us. And we all know motherhood, parenthood is strange and wonderful, and we don't know where this boat's going, but it's going somewhere, and you need to have the right people in it.
And a few of them life jackets on too.
Emergency.
Yes,
Hold my boat.
And then if you're a woman on a mission and you're trying to bring the support and showcase the support, you need to have other people that are singing the same tune as you. So when we went down, I was like, definitely, oh my goodness, these, and yourself, Carrie, like you and Gemma were just really homely. And you know yourself, if somebody's following you on Instagram or on Facebook and they're trusting you with support, I know I'm not going to be there. I can't spread myself across everywhere. So I know if they meet you, I know my mummy's going to be safe, or my dad's going to be safe, or whoever's coming in, I know they're going to be with somebody that's nice, that's meeting them where they are, and they're going to signpost, there's wee Catherine, or there's our new girl Nicolette. And you know, that's what I just felt, oh thank goodness there's somebody else that can help me do this mission, kind of thing. So yes, in a nutshell, we're bringing our Just Be Cafe to Support Together from starting next month. So once a month for the rest of the year. And it's really exciting, and it's just giving us a chance to get closer to our people that need in-person support. So we are trying to build it online, but then we all know the value of community support. Just having that person to talk to.
Connection is just so
the value of face to face and connection. Do you want to tell me a wee bit more about the Little Forget-Me-Nots Trust? What is your charity?
Okay, so my charity supports bereaved parents after they have said goodbye to a child. It's unfortunate that I am one of them parents that has said goodbye to a child, and it was 8 years ago now, and my world just took a complete turn, and I went into the lowest of the low, and I met grief for the very first time. I was saying to you ladies, it was the very first time that I had that feeling, because I know, like, my friends and my dad had said goodbye to his mum when he was 16. He knew what that feeling felt like. I didn't know what that. I had people that I knew died, but I didn't know. I didn't love them. If that does that make sense?
It hurts. Yeah, it's a different hurt. Yeah.
But this was somebody I said goodbye to that I actually created.
Yeah.
Which then is a different feeling, in my opinion, that you have just lost something so precious that who can prepare you for that? And especially when it was so like, I didn't know that it was happening. So it was just completely, like, it just knocked me off my feet.
Yeah.
So as I obviously went on this journey of discovering who I was as a bereaved parent, I was connecting with people that were asking me how it happened instead of showing me or support me.
Okay.
And that's what I had said to you girls, that don't ask me how it happened. I'm traumatized because I kept repeating what happened.
Okay, yes.
And I find it very hard to even put it into words now, because I just go back to who I was, a shell, a dark place. I'm just like, oh my goodness, it happened. And I don't want to focus on that. What I wanted to focus on, it was the connecting with people who could help me be who I was before, even a fraction of who I was before.
Yes.
So I tried my best to seek support, and I went to the doctors and things, and I was being suggested things that I just wasn't comfortable with, and then I kind of figured out how to do it on my own. I had to kind of take it into my own hands, and thankfully I come from a background of cultural event planning. I'm into heritage kind of crafts and things like this. So unbeknown to me, the years of experience linking with people and traditional skilled crafters, I was able to, like, hear their story, and they were doing it because they needed to do it, because their life wasn't all glamorous and pretty and things. So they had to go out to the shed and make a chair because they had to free their head, because they were on a journey of their own.
Yeah.
So they went and used woodworking skills. Then I talked to potters who did it because they had to do it. They couldn't do anything else because it helped their head. And then I said, forget, I need to figure this out. I'm going to try a craft and hopefully help my own head. So I fell completely in love with embroidery. And
you never done embroidery before?
Never, ever.
And that is a skill, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you fell in love with embroidery?
And instead of, like, we all love procrastinating. Like, that's the thing that we do. But today's world, we go on our phone and we procrastinate, and then we numb our head, and we probably come out worse after that. Instead of going to my phone, I went to fabric and threads and embroidery hoops, and it was intense how much I got involved with it, but it helped.
It zoned you out.
Oh my goodness.
But whenever you were zoned out, were you able to process through thoughts and feelings then?
So if somebody said something to me that could have, if I didn't add that to my life, I would have then sat at night and went, oh my goodness, why did they say that? Did I answer them properly? You know, the thoughts were there that I didn't really, I wouldn't have had before, because grief was now a part of me.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the tools to figure out when people talk, or if I did something wrong, what was wrong. But, you know, I just didn't know how to do life anymore.
Yeah.
Even mother, because I thankfully had a daughter before I said goodbye to my son. She was my saving grace. And then obviously the peer pressure with mummy, that mummy's doing this that way and things like, you know, I was just so hard on myself.
Yeah.
But when I got with a piece of fabric and some thread, and then procrastinated and did a wee doodle, oh my goodness, I can't even explain how beneficial it was for me right there. And I become obsessed. Like it was not a once a night or once a week. It was like every single, I came into my wee like bag of stuff, and my husband would look at me like, what the hell?
Here she goes again.
But honestly, it helped. It just did help.
Totally.
And then I started sharing that online, and then everybody started asking me for fabric and started coming over to my work. I turned one of our outhouses into a workshop. It just escalated.
Yeah.
I took it serious.
And there is something about being tactile,
using your hands. It's supposed to distracting yourself, maybe.
Like you think as a baby, a lot of people have soothers, and it could be the label of the back of it, or it could be the silky thing of a blanket.
Yeah.
And that is a soother, and you found something that soothed you and allowed you to be with your thoughts. You talked about that rather than sometimes thinking, oh, I said something wrong, I should have said it that way. But you were sitting with that and allowing yourself to, no, I did the best I could today in that conversation I had.
Yeah.
Rather than you going into catastrophizing mode and straight away being hard on self.
Yeah.
And there's a girl that we work with, she's our counsellor, and she says she is, when you see her knitting, she's at her most happiest.
Yeah.
I would find knitting, I couldn't, knitting, crocheting, it's amazing to be able to do it. Couldn't think I could do it.
Yeah.
But that's what she knows, and for the reason why, because she can sit and think.
Yeah. I know, and it helped.
Process.
And when I was actually, how it then linked on to the Little Forget Me Nots Trust, why I'm here.
Yeah.
So every time I sat down to do a project, I had a wee notebook like yours there.
Yes.
And I used to write down stories of where I want this. If somebody messaged me on Instagram saying whatever their story is, so mummy messaged me, she had a loss or blah, blah, blah. Then she picked up this, and it was like the journal of the discovery of the Little Forget Me Nots Trust. So I already started my research. Well, I don't know why. I don't know why I did that. I just had.
That was suppose you emptying your head out. That's what we always say, and we said it last week about the power of paper and writing stuff down and journaling, because that was another way of you coping, because you were getting stuff out of your head. It was taking the power away. It was brilliant. Yeah. That's really, really amazing.
Yeah. I don't know. And I naturally did it. I naturally figured it out. And I just did it. So the more that I obviously lent into it and shared my story, then honestly people came around asking for threads and needles and fabric and embroidery hoops. And my husband was like, Louise, you need to figure this out, because this is going to go the other way. If you don't, you're going to be out of business. You're not going to be able to afford to live.
No, and be burnt out.
Yeah. So as I explained on the way up here, I came to a really big crossroads. Am I going to lean into this, or am I not going to lean into this? So, and I went and I sat for a complete month and used my wee storybook and that fed into an amazing funding application. And it also gave me, that was probably a year down the line when I really said, I'm actually going to apply for charity status to see, can I figure this out and help mummies gain a bit of stability with giving them the tools. Instead of saying, we're here and we can fix your problems, we're saying, no, we're here to help you, give you the tool to talk through what's happening in your head. Yeah. So that's where our Just Be cafes come in. They're going to be in Oma, and it's a chance for mummies to come in and literally just be. Our first one, it's going to be using my own skills, and I'm going to be using embroidery. I'm going to be teaching how to embroider for an hour or two, and then I'll leave, and then everybody else can then just be. There's at the end, it's over a couple of hours, and then at the end you can tap in whenever you want. It's not you don't have to stay there the whole time. You can come just for the wee bit, learn how to do it. But then you don't even have to come for that. There's a section of it when at the very end we're going to just kind of focus on how to relax, because we all know when you're in a wee bit of a zone of what is going on today, because I haven't done anything, or I feel like I haven't completed this week properly. Give you tools how to not be so hard on yourself. So our new staff member, buzzing to get that, Nicolette, oh my goodness, it's just like another wee shining light we're adding into our wee community of people.
It's all coming together for you. I'm just very, very interested in the Little Forget-Me-Nots. How did you sit down? Because when you're talking, I'm kind of walking the journey that I did, me and my sister did at the very beginning.
Yeah.
We've come together because we did support together, and you're doing a little forget-me-nots because there was something wasn't going on out in the community.
There was a need.
Big need, and you needed something to help meet your need at that time, which you found wasn't there. Might have been something similar, but it wasn't the way that you felt it was the right place where you could have been held. The same as ourselves. And like Support Together, when we came up with the Support Together name, you know, it's important to get the name right at the beginning. So little forget-me-nots. Something I've always wanted to ask you, Louise, where did the title, the name for the charity come from?
Well, day one of trying to figure out what I was going to call this, and I didn't want to be personal to me because yes, I've created it, but I know one day in years down the line, I'm only going to be a wee name somewhere. I can see the bigger picture. I know probably people are thinking, where is she at, living in the clouds? But I can really see that this is going to be a big organisation, and it's not going to be about who I am and what my story is. It's going to be about everybody's little forget-me-not. And the reason why you're coming into this, we're helping you, is because of what you've been through, your trauma. And that's going to always be there. We're never going to forget it. It's not going to be, it's a part of us now. So, but we're trying to give you the tools, like we had said earlier, to grow around it, to take it with you, but not forget about it. So we don't know who wants to forget. So it did take a while to kind of figure it out. So we're hoping that the name translates into just knowing that you're always going to remember your little one, and it isn't, you're not going to forget. You're not going to forget.
Does it make it a wee bit easier? Am I right in thinking that it's like you're going to grow around the grief, and you're going to be changing, and I suppose as you go through the process and the thinking and what the mummies and the partners do with you, whenever they're going through their thought processes and stuff, it's letting them, I suppose, accept it a bit more and be with it. Make it not as hard. You're going to carry it with you for the rest of your life. It's going to be a little forget-me-not.
Yeah. I know I think the more that we're understanding the benefits of our support, people are really seeing that their trauma has came in and now it's a part of them, and it is a little forget-me-not, but it's the work that you have to do with the new you.
Yeah, the new version.
That, you know, that's now, you're going to be wearing that as a badge or whatever. I always say it's like, it's a part of your baggage, and whatever way that you dick it up, you want to, I always say, we have to figure out how to put a bow on it, because it's going to be there. But yeah, it's definitely, hopefully one day we can grow into lovely, wee, nice, like I'm looking at your wee tops and all, and I'm like, oh, I can see all of that happening. But we need to get our support really solid, and this is what I think it's just stepping stones into, and then hopefully we can develop into lovely wearing things in different ways, and, you know, showing it and, you know, being a part of this community, but not like labeling it, you know, having like a nice delicate wee remembrance kind of thing. So
I love the sound of that.
Yeah.
This is Fill Your Cuppa, the Support Together podcast, and we couldn't bring our podcast to you today without the support of Moody Activewear. Moody Activewear creates high quality functional activewear that you feel good doing the things you love. They don't just support your ass, they support your head as well, as they provide and donate 100% of their profits to support women's mental health, such as Support Together. Visit moodyactivewear.co.uk.
Death is absolutely scary biscuits.
It is.
And, you know, and people don't know what to say to someone when they have lost a loved one or said goodbye to a loved one, especially a child.
I know.
And within your criteria, such, Louise, what age or what does that look like? So if we have somebody out there is really keen and finding a bit of hope, finding their tribe, finding somewhere where they feel they could belong, to help them, suppose, navigate the grief that they're going through and the hurt. What age? What stage? What does that look like?
Well, for me, I don't think we've mentioned this before. Well, I'm also a funeral director, so
Yeah.
I come
We're
in
going to ask you more about that later. We'll suss that wee bit out about you.
Well, I unfortunately have met parents in all stages of loss of a child, and that parent that's sitting in front of me has the exact same expression on their face, regardless what age of a loss. So for me to manage this, I kind of had to go, right, well, that wee mummy who lost a baby in pregnancy and or a couple of months after pregnancy, they're the exact same. They are processing. It's hard to speak and organize. They're in a daze. Likewise, if it's a younger child, like 3, 4, and then again, the very last or before we actually launched the Little Forget Me Nots Trust, I met a wee mummy who was saying goodbye to a 12-year-old, and I think that's what. If there is whoever's leading me in some way, I think that's the cap that I have to go. So it is anyone who has been impacted through the loss of a child from up to the age of 12 years old. Now, everybody's grief is different. Nobody can grieve the exact same. If you say that you're grand after it, that's you.
Yeah.
But the next person might have been completely devastated, and we don't know. Who knows what has traumatized that person? For me, I know professionally, I couldn't work. My brain wouldn't work. That meant that impacted me being a mummy, a wife, a daughter, looking to the future. That impacted me so much that I had to physically stop for a while. So when people go to me, what's your age, what's your criteria? I'm like, if you have a child that you've said goodbye to under the age of 12, you're welcome here. And that's it. Because it honestly, I'm looking at mummies and they just don't know they don't know where to be. They're comparing themselves to others, like, oh, my loss isn't as bad as that. I'm like, your loss is impacting you, how it impacts you, and I hope to be able to give you the tools that you are able to do your life again. And through our Dispy cafes, it's amazing that you will find the wee mums and dads that have just started talking because they know they're there for a reason of they've said goodbye to a child. It's not let's get to know the situation. Again, I'm sensitive to people asking me what happened. I try not to start things like that. You're there because you're a brave parent. So you go, right, let's meet ourselves. We're in the same level here. And it's been amazing to see then leading on out with outside of our support. So we've had dads then meet up for coffees. We've had mums meet up for coffees after it. And I get really emotional when I hear that. Because I'm like, they get it.
They're getting connections.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's like for us and our mummies, and our mummies feel like they found their tribe, their village, and like there's something on Facebook. It's like whenever somebody says that they too have felt that, you're like, you too? Oh my God, because you think you're the only person, but to have that connection with somebody, and my loss is different from your loss, but we both have had a loss, so we both have that connection, and just we don't need to sit and talk about it, but to know that actually, if I'm having a bad day, or if I'm getting a wee bit teary, she understands it, and she doesn't think, what's she crying about today, or what's wrong with her? She understands it, and that's the connection, and that's amazing. Like, it's love. We know the value of it with Support Together.
Just like our gatherings, when mummies come to our gatherings, the ways they don't talk about the illness. Anybody who comes to the gathering as a member, they all know they're living with postnatal depression or anxiety due to the birth of their baby. And they don't have to sit and talk about the illness. That's a separate time. It's permission to gather with others. That connection. That being a social connector and feeling safe and cocooned. And that's where exactly you're even saying, when you came into our place, you had a vision. And when you walked in, you were going, that this is what
This
you
feels
would
safe.
like.
And
Safe.
that you can share your wee moments. But yeah.
And so when somebody is thinking, when you are coming home, and is it the second Tuesday in March?
Second Tuesday, yeah. I think it's the 12th of March.
I think we would.
Very important day that day.
That's what Catherine has told us. Catherine's your main woman. She'll do all the booking.
Yeah.
Catherine had put it down, but we'll put it all up on our socials, and so will yourself.
Yes, it's the second Tuesday in March, 12th of March. Very important day that day, folks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's
my birthday.
All right, okay. We're back there. But it is. You're saying it's from 3 to 7.
Yes.
But when they come in from 3 o'clock, if people are coming in and it's an Oma community house, it's on floor 1. You cannot miss it because there's a garden the whole way around
the door.
Our door. That they will come in at 3 o'clock, and it'll be yourself and
Nicolette. I don't know if Catherine's coming up that day. We'll have to have that wee discussion. But Nicolette is our new Just Be Cafe girl. That she's going to be there. She's so calm, so she just listens and just understands. She's such a lovely. She's fitting in so well. So she'll be there alongside myself. I'll be there to meet everybody and show everybody how to embroider, because that's what helped me. I thought that this is quite fitting that we started off. Yeah. And so if you haven't done it before, that's okay. We're not going to be making masterpieces. We're just going to trial it out. Yeah. And then you'll have a wee kit if you didn't finish it, if you've been having the crack and you want to go home and finish it. So it's just a nice wee intro to embroidery. Then we'll have a wee bit of talking and seeing how just catching up really, because I know there's some mummies from Oma that we have connected through different other Just Be cafes from last year,
and they've travelled quite far. Some of these,
I know. So one of them, I was telling you the other day, one of our first events that we had was in Shaw's Bridge, and there was about 12 or 13 families there, and I was trying to get around all of them, and then I met this one. She was like, "We're from Oma," and I was like, "I need to travel." Like, that was the first initial moment that I was like, this isn't just my wee place in Lurgan anymore.
Yeah, it's not your wee bubble. It's bigger.
Yeah. It
just shows you the need.
And then we did our Baby Loss Awareness Month candle making workshops, and that was sold out. Like, it's incredible that people are understanding what we do, because there is different support and amazing charities out there that do support bereaved parents. We're just tackling it from a different point of view. My point of view, that wasn't probably the normal way back when I needed the support, and that's probably why I didn't connect with a lot of the charities.
Of course,
because it wasn't. It didn't. I couldn't see how they could have helped me. Yeah. Whereas now I'm giving somebody to distract their. I'm not saying let's talk. I'm saying let's learn, and the conversation comes out naturally.
Yep.
So it's different. Yeah. Point of view. I'm hoping I'm explaining it properly.
No, you are. It's amazing.
You're coming in, and I think that's important. That there's different resources for different people. We're not all the same, but crafts and art is something that the human will draw to.
Oh yes.
And we're so lucky. It's all around us in a sense of nature, for example, something as simple as that. But even to sit down and paint, crochet, knit, even doodle. Yeah. Because we would often let mums doodle, and often just doodle as you're chatting, and often that allows them to have that conversation.
Relaxes them, yeah.
Rather than thinking they're coming in to talk to us.
It's all serious.
It's scary, like you're coming in for nearly an interview. No. Let's be with.
Yeah.
Let's just sit here and see where the conversation goes.
Yeah.
So how we got to know you, Louise, was we had a wonderful, and she's now in our committee, Amy.
Yeah.
Amy had 2 miscarriages, and went through a real tough time, her and her husband Benny, because it affects the dad to be as well. And we had a conversation with Amy, and a really honest conversation. I was saying to Amy, Amy, when time comes that you will be holding a baby in your hand, the anxiety and the worry doesn't go away after the baby comes. Because you are worried and you're anxious going through the stages of because you've had a miscarriage. And Amy had made a big realization to Amy that, I never would have thought of that I could be very prone to postnatal depression or postnatal anxiety. And she says, like, there was the big aha moment for her, that she didn't see the bigger picture before, because you were always waiting on, you know, I'm so many weeks now and so many weeks, and you're hoping, but there is a bigger picture there. So Amy wanted to do a bit of fundraising for us, because she'd realised that there was a massive awareness that needed to be out there in the community. And her fundraising was amazing. I mean, she inspired us, and I know she got a lot of other people thinking of loss, and how they're even feeling now, maybe holding the baby in their arms, and that they are anxious, a bit like Gemma IVF, which she went through, and that the anxiety, it doesn't go away.
No.
So Amy, we were trying to do a bit of research, and because Amy raised money, and we wanted to see about how we could provide something within our community regarding miscarriage. So I suppose that's where it got to yourselves. I know, speaking to you, and you goes, that's loss. Somebody has held a baby. Somebody has been with baby. So that can be from what? What is that? Because you spoke a wee bit about that there, but somebody has a miscarriage on up to the age of 12, lost a child through miscarriage, or up to the age of 12. I just think that's an important factor
That
to get in, because
we have so many mummies from all. I've never met so many mummies that are on my wavelength before, and I can remember there was one wee mummy that, when I was really having a pivotal moment, she had 8 miscarriages and still hadn't actually, and she came to me and she said, Louise, I'm a mummy, but I'm not allowed to be a mummy because I don't have any children. Are you able to support me? And she was, Louise, I have been really, really impacted so much by this. So why am I different to a mummy that has had more of an infant loss? And I was like, well, I'm just saying this. Are you feeling the grief of losing a child? If you are, then you're so welcome here, because the next person mightn't impact them as much as her. So I kind of go to myself, like, I'm not going to turn away somebody that feels like they are a parent and they can. And I know there is 2 wee mummies at the minute that they say goodbye shortly after they delivered their baby, and they don't have any other children, and they're hearing some of other mummies saying that, oh, my other one, I'm going for a walk for, get me out of the house with X child or whatever. They have other children. Now there's these actual other wee mummies that are still mummies, but they're not allowed to go to your keep fit classes, like their bumps and there's so much around that I'm like, there's so much that I think I need to start raising awareness from, and people trying to bring it into the world. And hopefully this is one of the conversations that might start planting the seed for somebody's head and different people's perspectives. But I think we come from Northern Ireland that people are just like, let's just not talk about it because, she's not talking about it and that's okay. But I know I continue to talk about it because it's still a part of me and he's still a part of me. And I always said this to anybody. I see the little forget-me-nots trust for me personally as another one of my kids that I still bring up, but in a different way.
Yeah.
And that's what I think people need to then start going to themselves, that they feel like they need support. What am I going to do to raise, I don't know what, it could be anything, but how am I going to raise it because if it is a fact to me, if the grief is a fact to me and they don't have any other children here, then how can I flip that in my head to try to make sense of it so I can then continue to do life? Yeah. Is that making sense?
Totally.
100%.
You even think of them 2 mums that you've talked about at stillborn, and they feel, where do they fit in? Where do they fit?
You're in no man's land.
Yeah. But you've had a loss, and then you've had another loss with that is where your identity. Yeah. Because you've already prepared in your head baby's name, what the baby's going, even the school, we tend to run ahead of ourselves and stuff. And that's why I thought it was a great point. I wanted to bring it back to that because it's important that loss is loss and what loss means to somebody.
Yep.
And that is something that a lot of people with Amy's awareness within our community. And we had Ita, one of the ladies we work closely with. She's a midwife and running her own wee business. She held
one of her
that was all
camp,
from Amy's, and like that was a full attendance.
Yeah, I know, and it's scary that people. I think it just comes down to people needing to back away a wee bit from other people's feelings, what they feel. It's like I know a couple of conversations I've had over the past couple of days is people being like, "Oh, their loss is worse than my loss."
It's not a competition.
It isn't.
No.
It's how you're different to me. You're different to me.
Mm-hmm.
How something impacts you and you is going to be different to me.
Mm-hmm.
How has that made you feel?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be so welcome regardless of whatever situation that you're bringing to us.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't need to know. And the other one we don't need to know. All you need to know is we're going to try and give you the tools to help figure it out for you. And again, not starting with the who, what's, where's, why.
The whole once upon a
My
time
name
story.
is, and I have had.
You're here.
my loss
You're here.
is-
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You feel it.
I love
you
that.
feel it. You know that we've been on the same boat as you.
Yeah.
And this is how I helped. It helped me. I helped myself. So
And that's a wonderful
It's amazing.
way of looking at it and bringing it to a whole new audience of people that have sat there often and didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
where do I belong? How can I heal through this?
yeah.
And you're providing them a space or an environment, and a group as such, the trust that you little forget-me-nots, for them to help them validate and normalize. I'm not saying but how they're feeling is raw. Of course it's going to be raw.
Yeah.
That feeling belongs to them. Nobody else can tell you how you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Nobody. So that's why I think it's so important. And I believe in OMA, especially we'll get a lot of people have come in and their loss could be through miscarriage.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And knowing that we are creating a haven within OMA
Yeah.
as well. And we are very passionate about partnership working and networking. And I think we can work very well together. And we create a space for
Parents.
the parents to come in. And we will do a bit more on promoting that and how did they just land that day?
So we're aiming, because before it was
membership
like a booking system, but we're going to just kind of just like all like open door kind of day to see how we can manage it to begin.
Mm-hmm.
And if it does then need a wee bit more
Structure or whatever.
but because before we only had certain amount of places and then people missed out,
Mm-hmm.
we would just want to see where we are with open door policy kind of thing, and then we'll just figure it out as we go, and we'll have the people there in place to do it. So yes, it's another work in progress, because before it was structured, it was really structured, but then that meant that then the people that didn't book on couldn't come. So now we're just kind of going the complete opposite. I'm going to trust the process of this one.
Boys, but we know how to talk. This episode was so good. Join us next week for part 2. This is Fill Your Cuppa, the Support Together podcast. Brought to you by me, I'm the host, Mrs. O, Ciara Una, and my co-hosts Una Leonard and Gemma Cassidy. Today we are supported by Moody Activewear and produced by 9874 Creative.